Part 22, two army team want to be grabbed, sandtable, for their own credit. Time passed quickly, and the half-month period had come. Xie Yishou personally led the troops over. This is a plan that Ming Yu finally came up with. Naturally, no mistakes are allowed. Ming Yu did not take Chao by virtue of his identity and personally led people to welcome him. A team of red-clothed silver armor came rustling in the distance, and before they got close, a chilling air rushed towards them. As expected, it is an elite unit that has experienced bloody battles on the battlefield. The flags are fluttered during the action, and the army is neat and tidy. At first glance, it is a well-trained and powerful army. There are no weak soldiers under the strong generals. Ming Yu secretly praised in his heart, General Xie is indeed well-deserved. Since there were only 500 people in the escort battalion for the confrontation exercise, Xie Yishou only brought 500 people over, so naturally they had to exchange a few words when they met. Wen Yujiao had to follow him dead and alive, and he just wanted to meet the rumored 14th prince, the current Prince Duan. When he was in the capital, the 14th prince had always lived in a secluded place. It was said that he was a symptom of stupidity, and he cultivated in the deep palace all the year round. Although he has a wide range of contacts, he has never really met the 14th prince, and his impression of him is only in rumors. Now that the 14th prince was named Prince Duan and came to Liangzhou, he also learned some things about Prince Duan from Xie Yishou's mouth. It can be seen that Xie Yishou still has a high evaluation of him. He had followed Xie Yishou for so many years, and this was the first time he had seen him look up to a person so highly. He quietly looked at the fair-skinned young man in front of him, who was as genial as the spring breeze. He was elegant and indifferent when talking and laughing, and his gestures were graceful and luxurious, but he did not have the arrogance of the royal children he had ever seen. Is this Prince Duan really the stupid and domineering prince from the rumors in the capital? He shook his head secretly. He didn't believe anything now. The two sides briefly introduced their people. And after the ceremony, Wen Yujiao stood up and cupped his hands to Ming Yu and said, "I have long admired the name of the prince. And they all say that it is better to meet each other than to be famous." As expected, the prince is such a humble and kindness gentleman. You also care about the people in the borderlands and thinks for the sake of the people. You are a rare and virtuous prince. Ming Yu didn't know why the other party praised him so much when they first met. Deep, there is no way out. Its position in the Red Robe Army is second only to Xie Yishou, and he is the right-hand man of General Xie. Very important. However, the identity of Ming Yu is there. And the compliments are heard a lot, so they don't care. Ming Yu said a few words of modesty with a smile on his face, and praised the various deeds of the Red Robe Army in a polite exchange, emphasizing that Master Wen's contribution was indispensable. The two of them complimented each other for a while, and they were so thick-skinned that they complimented each other. Xie Yishou was full of cold air, but on a whim, neither of them paid any attention to General Xie. Xie Yishou's forehead twitched, and he regretted having decided to let Wen Yujiao follow him. Until now, it was impossible to drive him back. At this moment, the dust was flying not far away, and a group of people rushed towards this side. There was a lot of movement, and Ming Yu also saw it. It was a little strange whose people would come here. When he got closer, he saw the person coming. It turned out to be General Wei. General Wei. Ming Yu took 2 steps forward. "What wind brought you here?" General Wei stopped the horse and dismounted. "Meeting with Ming Yu, Your Highness as well. I heard that Your Highness is going to make something new today. So come and join in the fun. Even you don't invite me, Your Highness won't blame it, right?" He heard that Prince Duan did it. What a new thing to fight against military training. and also rely on Xie Yisho and pull the Red Robe army to be a sparring partner. It is strange that Xie Yisho, a master who is not good enough, agreed. So, he has to come and see what he says. Ming Yu snorted. Where General Wei can come, it is also an honor for the soldiers to give some pointers to the soldiers. Going inside, the soldiers all went down to prepare themselves. The content of the confrontation drill has been agreed. There are single-player, team competition, as well as offensive and defensive confrontation between the two sides. Surprise raids and ambush breakouts, etc. All possible strategies and tactics on the battlefield will be drilled this time. Solo and team competition is easy to say, everyone has eyes. And it is clear at a glance who is stronger and who is weaker. It's just that this strategy and tactics has risen to the scene of war, and it's a real show with real swords and real guns. In this way, anger broke out on the battlefield, and one did not hold back. If there were casualties, wouldn't it hurt everyone's harmony? Ming Yu naturally took this into consideration. It's just an exercise. How can he use a real knife and a real gun? Therefore, the sword was replaced with wood, and the iron arrow on the arrow was also replaced with a wooden arrow wrapped in a soft cloth. And white ash was smeared on the weapon. Finally, the vital white ash marks on the soldiers' bodies were used as one of the bases for the battle damage, casualties, and finally through estimation. To determine the outcome, anyway, everything is based on the premise of safety. Solo and team competition is a warm-up, but the focus of this confrontation drill is on the confrontation of offense and defense, encirclement and breakout, ambush and anti-ambush. These are the most likely to be encountered on the battlefield. Ming Yu has repeatedly pondered the most characteristic battles in the past and present, and compiled them into several sets of rules. After reviewing Xie Yisho made changes and adjustments based on the current situation, and finally selected several cases for integration and copying. Ming Yu's escort camp and Xie Yisho's Red Robe army cast lots to decide the red and blue camps, and then you attack me and defend, or you ambush me, and I calculate your mode to start the battle. The number of people is the same, but the Red Robe army is a battle-hardened veteran, and has always been able to deal with war with ease. The guard camp is a group of lazy gentlemen from the capital. The formal training time is only a few months, but Ming Yu's training method is different from the usual. The effect of this unconventional training method is unknown, and everyone wants to see how it turns out. Therefore, although they knew that the Guard Battalion could not win the Red Robe Army, everyone was also very interested in the performance of the Guard Battalion this time. After the rules of the confrontation drill are communicated, it is up to the soldiers to discuss the countermeasures and how to deal with the enemy. This kind of confrontation made everyone feel interesting. After hearing the rules of the confrontation exercise, General Wei was also very interested, and asked curiously, "I wonder which team is the prince optimistic about?" Ming Yu turned his head and said with a smile, "Win or lose. It's not important. The important thing is to be able to see the other's strengths and weaknesses, learn from others' strengths, and correct one's own weaknesses, isn't it?" General Wei nodded in admiration. "Yes. The prince is thoughtful." Master Wen stroked his palm and sighed. "Indeed, the method of this exercise is very good. During the exercise, if you make mistakes, you will have the opportunity to correct them, and you will not make the same mistakes in the real battlefield. After all, once you go to the battlefield, you will live and die. Real fighting. Once there is a mistake, there is no chance to do it all over again." Haha, that's exactly what it is. It seems that this kind of drill is beneficial and not harmful. It can make the soldiers familiar with the cruelty on the battlefield as soon as possible. It can make the soldiers grow up quickly. After more battles like this, The soldiers will be able to deal with it on the battlefield. General Wei said with his beard. They are all battle-hardened veterans. They only need to think about it for a while to understand the key point. It's really admirable that the prince can come up with this trick. After being praised by the military leaders, Ming Yu just smiled and laughing. It's just picking up people's teeth and wisdom. It's not worthy of the general's praise. He knew his ability, and it was absolutely impossible to come up with such a plan. He just made certain changes through some exercise methods learned by later generations and the existing basic conditions. Then, adding his own ideas and Xie Yishou's suggestions, knead it, and make it into the current competition practice match. In fact, in Ming Yu's mind, this kind of confrontation exercise like a group fight is less than 1/100,000th of the military exercise of later generations. Even so, at this time and place, it still amazes everyone's eyes. Xie Yishou stared at Ming Yu's smiling serious profile, and unknowingly softened his gaze. He still remembered that when he first heard Ming Yu's proposal, he was as shocked as anyone else. General Wei did not believe his modest words. During these days when Prince Duan came to Liangcheng, he learned that His Royal Highness Prince Duan was not only not stupid and domineering, but humble and polite, agile and eager to learn, and extremely intelligent, and a heart of compassion, able to understand the suffering of the people. It's just that for some reason, when he was in the capital, His Royal Highness Prince Duan showed a different side, causing everyone to misunderstand his character. But after thinking about it, it is understandable. There is nothing wrong with the palace. I heard that the 14th Highness was under the plot of others while still in the womb, resulting in premature birth. It's not that there are no princes who died early in the palace. It's the 14th prince who looks stupid and domineering. He had fallen into the water for unknown reasons a few years ago. And it was all over in the end. If he showed his wise and demonic side early, it would be a blessing or a curse to know. General Wei twitched his beard, sighing in admiration and pity 3 times. His tenacious and domineering face for decades just squeezed out a little bit of kindness for him. Ming Yu didn't know that General Wei had made up thousands of words in his mind about his miserable life. And after discussing with Xie Yishou himself for a while, he decided to start the drill. As soon as they spoke, the guards sent the order down. As soon as the drums of war rang out, the 2 men and horses who had been prepared for a long time launched a charge. Ming Yu and the others set up a tent on a higher ground with tables and chairs. Nowadays, there are no binoculars or high-tech communication equipment that can be monitored in real time. Only the supervisors in the front can run back and forth to report the battle situation ahead. Although there will be delays, it is better than nothing. Ming Yu and the others leisurely drank tea and ate snacks. Occasionally, they listened to reports from their subordinates and looked at the sand table in the center of the tent. This sand table was also prepared by Ming Yu. He sent someone to survey the terrain of the training ground early, and then asked the craftsman to make it according to the proportion. The rest of the people felt strange when they saw this new thing. After Ming Yu explained it, the eyes of several people looking at Ming Yu became hot. General Wei walked around the sand table for several times, and said with admiration, "This thing is good, it's clearer than a map." "How many good things do you have, my lord? Why don't you take them out all at once?" Wen gentleman stared at this thing called the sand table, and it was really vivid. The valleys, rivers, trees and roads were like a miniature version of the real mountain scenery, which can be seen at a glance. Exactly. This terrain sand table is ingeniously conceived and well made. It is a rare thing. My lord, speaking of our Red Robe Army training with the guard camp, there is no credit or hard work. Whatever we say, you have to give it to our Red Robe Army. The last one will do. Master Wen rubbed his hands together and began to ask for it bluntly. Xie Yishou was very satisfied with Wen Yujiao's first move. General Wei was dissatisfied, and he glared at Master Wen. The old man of him hadn't even opened his mouth, so he was snatched up by this kid. So, he hurriedly said, "My lord, you can't just focus on the Red Robe Army. Our frontier garrison needs such a sand table." Master Wen had no intention of letting the old man down at all, and he would not give in at all. No reason. How can we garrison the army? So, wasted? Wen Shower, today you have to explain to this general. General Wei is so angry that he blows his beard and stares. The upper beam is not right and the lower beam is crooked. This stinky boy from the Wen family was led to Java by Xie Yishou. Wen Yujiao was not afraid of him, and was about to argue back, but was grabbed by Ming Yu. Seeing that the two were about to quarrel, was as big as a fight, Ming Yu looked at Xie Yishou, who was standing silently on the side. "I can only get on it myself." He pulled Wen Yujiao and smiled in the middle. "This thing is not a precious thing. If you two want it, this prince will send craftsmen to make one for you." With Ming Yu's promise, the two finally don't have to argue anymore. But they are not convinced. The tension in the tent is still the same.